Today we're going to talk a little bit about our new Sammic innovations in vegetable processing. I'm sure all of you are familiar with machines that look something like this machine. We have, I hate to use the word perfected it, but we've really taken it to the next level. Sammic has done some really cool innovations with this machine where we have changed the parameters of how our slicing and dicing work together so that we're able to perform those routine functions that have been problematic in kitchens for years of dicing tomatoes, dicing onions, dicing peppers without juicing the product. So Sammic has 32 different discs. You can see there's a bunch of them out over here on the side, but we will dice in we do millimeters, 8 millimeter, which is about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, which is a 10 millimeter, 14, which is about a half, 3/4, and an inch dice. I'll just jump right in just to talk a little bit about a couple things. This machine, as you can see, I've got a bowl here, is a combination machine. This is great for schools. It's great for institutions. It's great for, sort of medium volume restaurants, medium to high volume restaurants that are looking to have one piece of equipment versus two pieces of equipment. For functionality and cleanability, we'll talk about that in a minute. It's as easy as unsnapping and putting it in. We have options on, you can buy a machine that has just the hopper to do veg prep. You can buy one with a variable speed motor, which we're going to talk a little bit about this control here in a second, or you can buy one as a different bowl and processor top. We have actually 4 combination machines. We've got a medium volume machine that has the standard kidney shape opening. We have one that's got a 7-inch hopper that would be able to push in more volume. And then both of those 2 hopper sizes tops are compatible with either a 5 liter, so about a 5.4 quart bowl, or an 8 liter. All of our machines operate on standard 120 volt electricity on 15 amp circuit. The most important piece of what we're doing here. Sammic has converted this machine to have a brushless motor, so it runs silently. In fact, I will turn it on right now. It's on. You can tell that it's on because you can see this little spiral is moving. That tells you it's on. We'll be able to come over here, I'm doing this backwards, and bring this up to 1500 RPM. So the store with the high volume wants to process a bunch of material. It's at a very high rate of speed. But conversely, for those companies that are looking for a really clean cut, as you can see that this is 300 RPM, this is the slowest commercial grade slicer in the marketplace. That gives you a really, really clean cut, very accurate cut each and every time. The other piece of this that we have, and we'll go into this in a little bit more detail, is something that we call force control. As you can see here, the language is in English. It says force control. This can be done in 6 different languages. So if you've got French people because they're Canadian, or Spanish people in the back of the house that don't necessarily read English as well, this will give you your controls in a language that you select. As you can see, this is set at 10. What this force control does, and this is a really kind of cool thing, is it's going to be measuring the torque that the blade is being put up against. So if you're shredding cheese, or if you're working with a potato product or something fibrous, but mostly it's great for cheese. So if you're shredding cheese and you're a multi-unit, or you work with multi-unit operators, they're able to set a parameter. So regardless of if the person that's shredding the cheese in the morning is, 5'2" or 6'6", if they shred the cheese to the right force level, they'll be able to get the exact right shred. With every one of our Sammic machines, we sell safety first. You can see you're not supposed to put your hand in. When the machine is open, there's a cam in the back that will click. You can almost hear it. That tells you that the machine is not operational. And it's about 2 fingers, so you can't get your fingers in or a fork in or a spoon in to push. Some of our competitors just take that, throw it away, and the machine still spins. The other place that we have a safety is here in the business end. You can reach your hand in underneath. There's nothing sharp, but if you open this up, there's a safety that will open the machine and turn the machine off straight away. This is our 3/8 or 10 millimeter dicing grid. I thought we'd dice some tomatoes. Like I was mentioning before, we changed the parameters here. So what we've done is we've brought these up versus our old machines by about 1/2 millimeter and have a very, very tight tolerance of the waviness going across. And then we have our blade. So this is an 8 millimeter. I can use this at the same time. On the back, what we've done is we've changed the parameter by 1/2 millimeter as well to bring it down closer. So what that does in effect is if you're cutting like a 3/8 inch tomato slice, you've taken 1 millimeter of that 8 millimeters that isn't above, that's above the dicing grid and pushed it in. So it averts and keeps it from squishing the tomato. So I'll just use this 8 millimeter to go with the 10 just because they go together, and just dice some tomatoes. And we're here close, so you'll be able to see what's in the outlet. Again, these are just some fresh aromas that I bought this morning. They're ripe, they're juicy. It's cheating to not use that. I put about 4 in right now. I'm on 1. I'm gonna just take the speed up a little bit just for speed of service here. And then I'm gonna put it. That gave me a dice that is an 8 millimeters across by 10 by 10. And you can see there's not a lot of liquid coming out of here. When I look in, I've got very little waste left. This waste would get pushed down and through. If I was making pico, you can see as you look here, and you'll see this on every machine. This is what's left. Typically, the worst job in the kitchen is cleaning the dicing grid. Sammic has innovated beyond that. So what we've done is we've created a dice grid pusher. So this matches up with either the 10 millimeter dice or the 8 millimeter dice. Since this is a 10 millimeter dicing here, we'll take this. We turn the product over, and this is critical for your operators out there because now we have an opportunity to capture all of the product that didn't get diced. And I'm doing it in the air. You can just take it and push it through. If you've got a more fibrous product, it's a little bit harder. Tomatoes actually work pretty well. Then you take it, turn it around 180 degrees, push it through again. I'll take that out. And I now no longer have any waste. That's all been captured. This is an NSF approved dishwasher safe container. And my grid, as you can see, is cleaned. Put this in some water, a bus tub. When you're done, you'll move it right over to the sink. So, or you're ready to go. When I make my pico here at the office, what I tend to do is just drop in some onions afterwards, and down here. Again, very, very quick, very, very easy. This won't make a lot. I've got, lots to do. I can make more. I could put the tomatoes in with an onion or even a jalapeno or a serrano. I'll throw another onion in. I've even done cilantro going in at the same time with that. So for your operator, the speed, the efficiency is very, very, very easy. And you can see it's a continuous speed. I'm not having to turn the machine. Able to open this up as we were talking about before, your yield is maintained. You don't have to worry about your waste because it's here. If I tipped the machine a little bit, this is an ejector disc that comes inside. I don't have, if we took a look here, I'm just gonna tip the whole machine over. You can see how much juice I've got in that hopper here. There's probably a tablespoon, if that, of juice. And I did 4 pounds of tomatoes with that right now. So it's very, very easy to use. If I was in a food service application right now, what I would do is I would take this top, I would unlock it and pop this whole piece to go away to the sink so that they could be ready to not have any cross-contamination of flavors for the next piece. In terms of cleanability, at this point, what I would do and what I'll show you is I'm just gonna take some paper towel and just give it a wipe down very, very quickly. I'm gonna show you some shredding, and I'm gonna try and get some of that jalapeno flavoring out of the hopper. 2 different shreds that we do. We have large shreds, so this is just a 7mm shred. We can use our standard hopper like you typically would, or with the long vegetable, we have a capability to shred to shred. It's nice that it's going. Super, super quiet. One of the capabilities that Sammic has, and this is a new blade that we're working on, is the cleanability. If you note, most shredding blades have screws here. Sammic does not. So we worked with a chain that said to us, hey, we have to take our screws out and they're Loctited in, and we're having a lot of concerns and issues with that. How do we make it so that we don't have cleaning issues? And so Sammic developed a disc that comes apart. Both will go in the dishwasher. You can see how easy that was for me to take it apart. It's as easy as putting it together and clicking it in or clicking it out. That's as easy as that is. Both go in the sink or both will go in the dishwasher. That force control. So zucchini, super easy. Tomatoes, very, very easy. There's no real issue in terms of the force against that torque against the machine. Cheese, on the other hand, if you're shredding Monterey Jack or if you're shredding cheddar, that's a lot harder. So again, we're going to use that piece that fits underneath. That little snap is the machine locking in place. When I start here, I'm gonna just put 1 cheese in. This is that force control that I was talking about. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at right down in here. There's gonna be blue lines that come up, and when it gets to the level that I set, which I think is at 9 or 10, it'll start beeping. If I pull down too hard, it'll beep and it tells me I need to. So see how that goes up? And then you got that little beep at the end. That was that piece. If you want, I can show you again. I'm gonna break it in half to make it a little bit harder. So it's going up against 2 pieces at the same time. And watch that level, watch that blue light up, and you'll be able to see the amount of force that I'm pushing down against the machine, okay? Here we go. So that machine, showed a fair amount of force. I did with more cheese, a bigger block. You're going to get that force. It's going to be more reactive. It's really more for our bigger machines on that. And Sammic innovated this piece, like the disc grid cleaner and the 2-piece cheese shredder. We're the only ones in the market that sell anything like that. Another interesting piece and a cost of ownership piece about that is if we look here at this slicing disc that we've got, if you notice that there's 2 screws here, well, all of our competitors, if these blades get dulled or broken or chipped or whatever, you have to buy a whole new disc. With Sammic, all you do is you pop out these 2 screws, and it's $26 to your end user. So it's not a big cost or big expense. We're gonna move over to the bowl processor. As I mentioned, this is our 5-liter bowl. We also do an 8-liter bowl. Our 8-liter bowl is the largest bowl processor on the market that is 120 volts. So it goes on a 20 amp circuit, but we have basically with this new brushless motor, it is a step down. All of our bowls and hubs and lids and scrapers are accessories. Again, we talked about before the control panel. This control panel is designed now. It indicates that it is in the bowl mode. There's safeties so that if I try and turn it on, you can see these 2 lines and a control that says that the puree attachment, which basically tells me my lid hasn't been shut and not in there. So once it's locked, it gives me a speed. It goes from 300 up to 3,000 RPM. There's an integrated timer in here. So as we're developing recipes, you will be able to watch the counter count up. And then when you've set your recipe, you can then set that counter to that time. I have to tell you, I have seen a lot of machines that say 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. Sammic sort of has built an idiot-proofness to this, and I is the perfect idiot. We talked about this being a quiet machine. This is spinning at 3,000 RPM right now. I've not raised my voice. In fact, I've just brought my volume down. What I would tell you is I was doing this at a demo once and forgot that I had turned the machine on and walked away. And I came back and my timer here on the bottom had counted up and said 30 minutes. At 30 minutes, it turned itself off to make sure that it doesn't overheat. It's a built-in safety. First of all, you're not going to ruin your food, or your end user is not going to ruin their food, but they're also not going to burn out the motor. When we've been out demonstrating these, we've been told a number of times, this is a huge feature. People walk away and leave it all the time. We're again, thinking about the end user and the operator. I'm just going to bounce this down. There's another function. We talked a little bit about our speeds. So we have it here going at 2. When we are looking at this, we have that same control that we use for force control. But if I push it here while it's operating, it actually spins the blade backwards. Why don't we see if we can get that to because I've never done this before. Now it's spinning one direction, and if I push this the other way again, it then goes back the other direction. Man, that machine's not happy with me doing that. If I pop this open, it turns off. So, it's always fun to watch things get mixed and made. So I did this the other day. I just took some egg yolks and just did some batter breads very, very easily. Literally, we'll do it together here. It's so nice and easy. I just hit start. With my spatula, I'm able to stir this around. It's all mixed in. I can then take my wet ingredients. They're all blended together nicely. Then I take my dry ingredients and I poured my dry ingredients in all at one time, no sifting, no anything, just drop them all in. Lid back on, lock it in place, and we're spinning, right? Very, very easy. Get my batter going. if you can see that the two little blue lights on the bottom, that's indicating that it is showing that there's some torque in there. So that's good. We want that, but not too much. I've got those all in. It's all incorporated. The next thing that I would do is, I would just use that zucchini that we did before. I'll just take my zucchini, and I'm going to take about 2/3 of my zucchini in right now. I'm just making this up as I go. And I'm going to spin it the same direction because the batter's a little bit drier than I would have anticipated. So I'm going to just spin it, and it's going to start processing everything up. There we go. I'll give it a couple turns here. I might even crank the speed up a little bit. Beautiful. Make it a nice dough. There, it's releasing the water, which is important. There we go. That's pretty. That's great. But I want to make sure that there's some texture. Wow, that's really pretty. So I'm going to take the rest of that zucchini that I had. I'm going to put it in here. But instead of going forward on it, I'm just going to go backwards on it. And I liken this to a fold-in feature. So I'm going to take my lid. I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to flip my speed back here, get up a little bit faster on the fold. We'll go up to 500 spins backwards. And now I've folded that zucchini in. But when we stop, and I'll take this open and I'll look at it and I'll show it to you. You can still see that there are large pieces of zucchini that are still there. So you're going to still get that full texture on the zucchini. It doesn't break it in. So we did this with chocolate chips or with walnuts or whatnot. We actually did this the other day and peeled hazelnuts with it and then made a Nutella kind of a product with that. So that gives you an idea of this machine.
What is the best way to determine what size of unit you should be purchasing?
It really comes down to what the end user needs are. I wouldn't use that big hopper if they're doing 50 tops a night in a real world, right? If they're doing, if they're shredding 200 pounds of cheese a day for a pizza restaurant, I would look at that bigger hopper, right? If they're doing just 10 pounds of cheese a day because that's enough for their restaurant, the smaller hopper is probably efficient for it. The largest fast food Mexican restaurant uses our one-speed machine with the small hopper for all their cheese that they do all day. So they've seemed to think that that's a good size for them. Whereas I've got pizza restaurants that are using a much larger, hopper with the variable speed because that's what they need, especially with that force control.
Those discs back there, how many options are there?
There are 32 discs that we sell. But as I showed you here, with our dicing, you could do a 6 millimeter with an 8 and 10. So there's like 32 disc options, but you can do 50, 60 different slices depending upon what you're looking for. I've never done the math on that. So we go from julienne cutting to, so we do like a 2 millimeter julienne, a 4 millimeter julienne, and an 8 millimeter julienne, which is good for like somebody that's doing like French fries. And then we do ripple cuts. So if you've got somebody that's doing house-made pickles, they could do ripple cuts in 3 different size ripples. We've got a 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and a 6 millimeter ripple cut. I mentioned all the different dicing that we do, but we could do 1 millimeter up to 25 millimeter slicing. So if you're wanting to do ginger, we can slice 1 millimeter ginger. I wouldn't do 25 millimeter ginger, jam that machine up. Really, the only thing that I've not seen this work on is trying to julienne ginger or to do a 1-inch dice, a 25 millimeter dice of sweet potato. 20 millimeter dice of sweet potato works, just not 25.
Can you tell me, how do we compare to, say, Roboku? We as in Sammic compare.
In terms of quality, or in terms of price, or in terms of all of those things?
All of those things.
So that's a great question, and it's a question that we're really proud to talk about. We think, and we know, because we win when we go up against them, quality for quality, we are not going to be below them. The options that we have and provide on the veg prep side, with the detachable discs, with the grid cleaner, with the capability to do 8-liter bowls versus 120 volt versus 230 volt, we're winning. Price-wise, especially if you were to look at, we look at the R602V as the comparison to the machine that we've been showing you. I don't want to speculate, but I look at our list prices, and we're 4 figures difference with them, and our list price being less. So we have more functionality, more features. When we talk about what we're doing at the control panel with force control, with a brushless motor, there's no vents in here, so it stays cool. You saw how quiet it is, which keeps the volume down in the kitchen, and the cleanliness and the ability to do cuts better than anybody else in the marketplace. 1 year parts and labor fixed on site for any of our bigger machines. Some of our smaller machines, like our little hand blenders, would be a carry-in, but the bigger machines we fix on site, 1 year parts and labor.
And then do we go through a factory authorized service agent?
Yes, and we actually were having this conversation yesterday. How we authorize the factory service agents is not a big trick. We have partnerships with companies.
We go through a factory authorized service agent?
Yes, and we actually were having this conversation yesterday. How we authorize the factory service agents is not a big trick. We have partnerships with companies all over the country, but if you're in Bend, Oregon, and there's a guy that is a dynamite, repairman, and he works with your customer, you can say, hey, we work with Bob, and we need Bob to do it, and we'll have him be authorized. We'll get him trained on the product, or we've got videos that we can, have him see and work with on how to repair most of our machines. So, yes, it's factory authorized, but we do authorize other agents when need be.
Well, and I know you mentioned earlier on that you've been doing a lot of demos. You're doing a demo for us right now. What happens if we have a customer that's looking for a specific demo? Is that an option to do a virtual, in this whole virtual world? Can we set up?
Absolutely, 100%. There's 2 things. Some reps, I don't know what's going on in Seattle in your showroom there, your test kitchen there. We can, get equipment there to them. You know what? As good as these are, as good as it is to see this, feeling it, touching it, crying from the onions, there's no change. Having your operator pull the machine down and say, wow, I didn't even touch it, and look at that, dice was amazing and fast. That's really, really important. So to that end, yes, we'll be happy, and we have this showroom that's got our sous vides and our vacuum sealers and our potato peelers and all of our equipment here that we can do a demo on. But if they need it to be in their kitchen to test, and they're comfortable with having our rep or ourselves, and when it's time to be there to do this, start up the demo for them there, and then leave it there for them to work with it, that's also something that we are quite, happy to do as well.
And to your point, yes, Performance Reps Northwest has a test kitchen in Seattle, and we have several pieces of Sammic equipment, and would love to have customers there, have all of you out there try this equipment firsthand. We also have the option in Portland as well to bring some equipment to you on the smaller pieces. So yeah, definitely capabilities or ability to demo the equipment. Where is Sammic shipping from these days?
We are shipping from Chicago, actually from a little suburb just north of Chicago, so Chicago. And, you know, our service levels are still very, very high. We get either air shipments or sea containers monthly and weekly when we're getting air containers. The COVID has sort of shut down the air lanes a little bit. But we ship here. If we have an order by probably 11:30 to noon your time, and we have it in inventory, we're shipping same day. Free freight at $4,000, and you know it's as easy as an email to USA@sammic.com. It will get processed and, like I said, put on a truck or on FedEx that same day if we have it, and it's early enough. Most importantly to that, all of our parts are also here. So we probably have 95% of the parts that will take care of 100% of the problems that go down. And if we're out of a part, it's on its way to us. There's an accounting system that marries our system to this to the factory in Spain's system, so that they can see what our usage is. They project now out 6 weeks to say they've been using this more and more and more. And then they put things on a container so that we're always just in time with our inventory. If something's missing and it's a widget or a gasket or a control board, they'll put it on a DHL to us as well. One of the anecdotes that we learned at the factory the last time I was there is during August, everything shuts down. But if there's ever a time that there's two pieces that are there, one will fulfill an order for a new customer, or one will fulfill an order for a parts customer, the parts customer gets that order first. So we, like I said before, keeping your customers operating is critical to us. So the parts being here, typically we'll either overnight or second day air a part to the customer and then dispatch service to meet that part. We do potato peelers, we do salad dryers, we do sous vide and vacuum sealers. So we do chamber vacuum sealers from 12-inch to double seal bar 17-inch vacuum sealers to floor model vacuum sealers with 33-inch seal bars. Everything that we do is NSF and UL ETL approved. We have hand blenders from the very small. This is probably retail around $240 or so, up to our new ones. And these are all brand new to the marketplace right now. This is our big boy. That's a 25-inch arm, 1.2 horsepower motor. Super robust, safe. One of the things that we're doing is it's not plugged in right now, but you can see here there's a little light that when it's plugged in, this light will turn on and show that it's powered. They're dangerous pieces of equipment when they're powered and people don't know. The other thing that this machine has is a 90-degree turn. So you just put this in, click it into place, you hear it click, and you know that it's locked in. With the square edges now, you can tell when it's disengaged because it's not even. And now we have the square ones as well. We do these from, like I said, the very small to the very big. We've got new variable speed motors, which are larger than we've ever had before as well, which is a good thing.
XM12 come apart for cleaning.
Absolutely, super easy. This is dishwasher safe. Oh, I was too high. Dishwasher safe. And like I said before, it's very easy to click and snap into place. There's a little lock indicator that shows if it's locked or unlocked. I actually have it in backwards this time. But there's like a little lock there, and it just pops in, shows unlocked, it's locked, and we're good to go.
You guys have a great website as well that has some new brochures on there, some good PowerPoints, videos. I highly recommend bookmarking the Sammic website.
Yeah, we have two that we look at. One is www.sammic.us. That highlights just the products that we sell here. Unfortunately, in Europe, they sell a lot more products. So at Sammic.com, there are things that we don't offer. And then the other one is our sous vide website. Sammic is leading the industry in innovation in sous vide with Bluetooth and HACCP tracking and all this really cool stuff. And we've got great recipes, great questions and answers at www.sous-vide.cooking. So it's sous-vide.cooking, and that is just a wealth of information.
Thanks so much to Neil. Appreciate your time today, and thanks to all of you. Yeah, have a great one. And Performance Reps Northwest is happy to host this event, and we are all here to support you. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.